Hello, I'm Laura from Iotic Labs, and this is Mark, also from Iotic Labs. And I'm here with my blank slate microbit. Mark's got one too. They're both connected to Iotic Space. In this case, using a wired serial connection, but in future this will be Bluetooth. As a quick demo, I've allowed Mark to control my microbit. So if he presses button A on his microbit, the lights on mine come on. Thanks, Mark. You can turn it off. So microbits can communicate in Iotic Space. But of course we're right next to each other, we're in the same room, there's nothing particularly exciting about that, and there's lots of ways to do that already. But one of the advantages of using the internet to communicate is that you don't have to be in the same room, you don't have to be on the same network. So I'd like to introduce Danny. This is Danny, she's joining us on Skype. Hi Danny. And Danny has a microbit too. We can interact with remote devices in exactly the same way as we can with devices on the same network, whether they're our own or whether they're owned by other people. In this case, this is Danny's microbit. And I've allowed Danny to control my microbit in exactly the same way. So if Danny presses button A on her microbit, the lights on mine come on. So it's exactly the same as when Mark does it. Thanks Danny, you can turn that off now. Great. So microbits can communicate in Iotic Space, whether in the same place or whether in another place. Okay, if we wanted to do more than just microbit to microbit communication, this is an example IoT ecosystem. So we've got a Raspberry Pi using this board to connect to an energy smart socket, which has got an ordinary dumb desk lamp plugged in. This is representative of a kind of smart home setup that could be any kind of IoT device. So what might Danny want to use button B on her microbit for in this kind of setup? Well, she's turned the lights on the microbit on and off. She could also turn the lights in the real room on and off. Okay, Danny, so if you press button B, the lights in the room come on. So even the tiniest action of a microbit can have an action and can take part in a wider IoT universe. Thanks, Danny. You can turn that off now. Great. So these are all linear M2M relationships. They're what's expected, they're what's useful, and it's also a very powerful thing to be able to think, what do I want this button to do on my microbit, and to be able to use it to control the world. As well as controlling the connected world, a true IoT allows us to listen in ways we've never been able to before. There are hundreds of thousands of devices sharing their data on the internet right now. So for example, we've got bikes, bins, weather stations, river level sensors, air pollution monitors, all sharing their data in Iotic Space now. And it's sharing that as data feeds that you can follow, you can bring into your projects, you can interact with. Some of them are physical devices like this, physical things, and some of them are purely virtual things, so they could be sharing, say, an open data feed. In that kind of expanded world, what might I want button A to do on my microbit? So if I press button A, no lights come on, nothing flashy happens. But what I'm doing now is my microbit is now following a data feed. In this case from a random number generator, which is a purely virtual thing that shares a random number every 10 seconds. We've chosen this because it shares fast enough for a quick demo like this, but you could be following any kind of real world data. And the program on my microbit is using the incoming data to decide how many of the little LEDs it wants to turn on when it's activated. So this time, if Mark presses button A to activate my microbit, the lights come on, but as you can see, the number of lights that come on is in response to the random numbers coming in from that feed. And if I leave it running for a bit, you probably saw it change quickly then, but I'll leave it going a bit longer so you can see. There we go. So that's changing in real time. That's real-time data from a feed. It's random numbers because it's doing it real fast, but you could be following any kind of real-world, real-time data and bringing that into your project in exactly the same way. Thanks, Mark. That's great. You can turn that off now. Very good. So what if we wanted to take that further? We could be breaking feeds, we could be breaking those linear relationships, we could be making new feeds, co-creating new ideas. With anything in Iotic Space can create a feed of its own data, it can follow a feed, it can control, and it can be controlled. And anything can be repurposed again and again. So for example, this energy, being a monitoring device, is sharing a feed of data about whether this lamp plugged in here is on or off. So what might I want to do with button B on my microbit? Now if I press button B, as well as I'm still following the random number generator, I'm not changing anything, but I'm also going to follow the feed from this energy. So, and if you look, you'll be able to see the feed, the new feed, you'll be able to see it created here on the UI. So I'm going to press button B. It takes a little while to see the UI, but there you go. So that's a new feed being created in real time. So that means that my microbit is now following a data feed that's produced by this Raspberry Pi, connected to the energy monitor, and it's monitoring real-world change. So are the lights in this room on or off? And the nice thing about that is that now my microbit is fully automated. So it can choose, because it's following the feed, it's listening, rather than being controlled by someone. It's listening to a change in the real world. So are the lights in this room on or off? And that could be any change. So that could be, has a train arrived, that could be, has someone fallen over. In this case, it's just a light going on and off. And so it's now listening, and if the light goes on in that room, so if you want to switch on the plug mark, so if the light goes on in the room, this listens to the feed, and the lights come on. And as you can see, the number of lights that come on is still determined by the random number feed. So you can add new stuff on the fly, you can change things, and you can really, really interact in a tactile way with the connected world. Thanks, Mike, you can turn it off. And what you'll see, yeah, brilliant. So now we've got a really nice collection of IoT blocks all interacting together. We've got smart devices like the energy device here and the Raspberry Pi. Of course, they could be any kind of smart devices. We've got dumb devices here that have got no innate smarts of their own but can be empowered by being connected to other devices. We've got remote feeds, and they can be physical things and they can be virtual things. We've got real human people who are able to take action or automate as we choose. And of course we've got the microbit here acting as a sensor, as a tool, as a data consumer, and they're all interacting together. So using this sort of set of blocks, what might you want to build? What might people want to use? And what might they want to use that for?